Merci à vous. Uh, in our institute, we have a group of experts, a think tank working since 2015 about BRICS topic, and we apply in multidisciplinary and systemic approach in studying this new coordination, its activity, its goals, its way of proceeding. Uh, in my contribution, I was very stimulated to the contribution by Gracian Simek and about the new era. And the question arise in my mind is how to be constructive in the new area. And the first element I want to put to your attention concerning the clarification of basic concept that they are used in this particular period, because we see that both in literature and in journals, in the speech, there is a lot of confusion and mistakes. For instance, we read very often that globalization process is going to finish, the end of globalization. This is completely wrong approach. Globalization is a process evolving in different periods with different characteristics. And so now we are in a new stage of this process, and we are what we call re-globalization, because the interconnection in our life, in our system, is so strong that is designing a new possible process, a new possible evolution. So let's make cancel this idea that we are living the end of globalization. The same concept to put clear in our documents, in our approach, is concerning multilateralism. You read very frequently that multilateralism is at the end, and the new multipolar world is increasing. No, it's not a multipolar world, it's a multicentric, because in the new center that are increasing as a point of reference, there is a sort of equality of among the participants. So we are not looking a new multipolar system or new bipolar system, but we are living in a multicentric system in which are emerging new actors in political, economy, and cultural terms. The third concept to clarify well is that we use very frequently the contraposition between North and South, East and West, Global South. These are concepts that are very old, Kipling's time, West and East. But now, in the current situation, are really no adapt, no well point of reference. I think that we must start really thinking new concept of reference. There was a debate a few days ago in Bologna. We must change our idea of global south or north and south. They are no more sufficient. The fourth element, so in our way of thinking and analyzing the BRICS situation and the global order, we must make clear the concept, the basic concept of reference. Other point that is very important for me is the concerning the contradiction of our time, of this period. On one side, we have tensions, protectionism, conflicts, wars, etc. But from the other side, we see that all the states, all the community of the states is still working on the common platform of reference. This is a very important contradiction. And if we want to be constructive in a new area, we must put the main attention of about what is uniting states and people and societies more than what is dividing. I give an example. The community of the states share common platform, starting, for instance, from the Agenda 2030 for sustainable development. Every community of states at the regional, continental level experience its own methodology, policies, and so on. There are some countries that are going back because too difficult. There are countries that are pushing to become more competitive, just going in the direction of sustainable development. In any case, the Agenda 2030 remains a common platform in which all the states, I repeat, all the states are committed to achieve goals and elements of progress. The same platform you find in the Pact of the Future that was approved inside the United Nations in 2040, last year. And just a few days ago, we have the second World Social Summit in Doha, in Qatar. If you look at the final declaration approved by all the states, you find a lot of elements of common commitment to pass from a development model based on quantity to a new development model based on the quality of the being. So there are two situations, tension and conflicts from other side, and common platform, common commitment, common challenges, uh, shared by all the community of the states. And this involves also the idea of the common goods, what we call common goods, the common challenge for environment, for climate, demographic, social imbalance, and so on. So these are the elements about over which we must work to be constructive. To if the state, the community of the states approved and continue to work in this direction, we must understand, clarify, and support these efforts as academia to political decision makers. Concerning the BRICS are very active in this direction, and this is an important element. Uh, in the literature and also in the newspaper, magazine, you see that you read a lot of time, very frequently, that BRICS are disruptive of the international order. I go to read and to call the value of the official documents approved by the BRICS and in the annual summit, the final declaration, and many other official documents, taking in mind that one thing is the declaration by the different leaders, one other completely different thing, it's the official documents approved by the summits. And what I see in this document, I see a great, continuous, great effort to reform, not to disrupt the international order. This starting from 2009, the first official summit, until the last summit, you find clearly stated this project, this will of reform. For instance, reading, I have here the final declaration of the last summit in Rio de Janeiro. Design a more balanced multilateral system, a global system. They recognize the central role of the United Nations organization. There is no one document in which they contest, they won't disrupt the United Nations. They want to reform, to make more valid, effective the United Nations as a central principal center, a principal international institution. But if you go to read the similar expression of will of reform are concerning the international, the World Trade Organization. Just last year, there was the 30th anniversary of WTO, and all the states, including BRICS, they officially affirmed that the very important role of this organization. Look, point 5 about United Nations, point 13 about WTO, and Also, the G20, and here I connect with the previous speaker. G20 is officially recognized as the engine, basic engine for economic development, for the world system and its economic development. So the G20 is becoming the tool in which the BRICS can play a very important role, constructive, not disruptive. If you have in mind that last 15 October, the Secretary General Gutierrez started with a work in progress with the first official document concerning the reform of the United Nations. We see that the BRICS can play a great role in proposing concrete reform of the United Nations. So, if my conclusion on this aspect is the following: if the BRICS are a reforming body, if the spirit, the will to reform the United Nations, the WTO, the G20, the governance of international system, we must have an attitude open to dialogue. And it is a great mistake, especially from the European Union. The second speaker was very clear. They are blind because they don't have dialogue. When we read the documents approved by the European Parliament, you put your hand in the head. They are very, very closet and blind. We recognize that the BRICS are important coordination body, but we invite to have relations with a single state. So this is written officially in the resolution by European Parliament. So we must change completely our approach. In a period of deep changes and transformation, even this is another concept to clarify. If there are bodies emerging in the international scenario, new institutional center that want to reform, not to disrupt the international order, we must have a attitude open to the dialogue. This is the first commitment for European Union to change its attitude because it is too blind and not constructive. Let me conclude with a reflection about always this idea to have clear concept of reference. We use the word change and we use the word transformation. They are two completely different concepts. When I use the word change, that means I go in a way that I know well, find obstacle, try to remove the obstacle because I want to continue my way. When you use the term transformation, That means that you arrive to a crossroad in which you have different alternatives and you have to choose what is better for you. We are in the situation of structural transformation. The new scenario will be completely different from the scenario that we have now. That means academia and political decision maker has to work together to an idea of the future that we want to build, not a future to explore in perspective, trends, and so on, but a future to build what is the possible scenario that I want to build. This is the cultural and also philosophical and ethical elements that emerging more and more clear in the new multi-center system that we have. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, dear Professor, for your this enlightening the high information part. Avant de résumer, d'abord, je voudrais remercier la présence de chargé de mission de l'ambassade de Luxembourg, présent ici. Eh bien, comme vous avez constaté, le professeur, il nous a informé comme quoi, lors de l'ouverture de la dernière session de l'Assemblée générale des Nations Unies, le 25 septembre 2025, le secrétaire général a présenté un document préliminaire sur la réforme de l'ONU répondant à un intérêt mondial croissant. Il a annoncé qu'un vaste processus de discussion ouverte débutera le 15 octobre 2025. L'intervenant a exposé les principaux éléments de ce document et a présenté ses propres propositions qu'il a mis en regard des orientations exprimées ces dernières années dans les déclarations finales des sommets de BRICS. Cette analyse comparative met en lumière les facteurs clés qui détermineront les chances de réussite du processus de réforme, notamment le rôle potentiel des BRICS au service de la communauté internationale et la possibilité d'ouvrir la voie à une nouvelle forme multilatéralisme. Merci beaucoup de votre présence. Apparemment, nous sommes à l'heure. Je ne sais pas s'il y a des questions des intervenants qui sont là pour vous répondre. Sinon, c'est l'heure de déjeuner. On va partir pour déjeuner et après, on va rentrer à 14h30. S'il n'y a pas de questions.
J'aurais une question. Je voudrais poser une question à M. RICCERI de l'Italie qui est en ligne parce que j'ai bien entendu que vous avez évoqué le concept du bien public ou du bien commun dans votre intervention. C'est vrai, moi aussi ça m'intéresse beaucoup parce qu'en fait, c'est effectivement République, c'est ça, Respublica. En fait, les biens publics, c'est pour ça que tous nos ordres étatiques sont constitués comme République parce qu'en fait, la République, c'est le bien commun, Respublica, et puis ça comprend aussi une partie en allemand, on dit Allmende, donc ce qui n'est pas inclus dans la commercialisation, en fait, hein, des biens comme des forêts ou l'air et tout cela. Donc, je trouve effectivement que c'est une des questions les plus ardentes, parce que là maintenant, on parle de l'espace, on parle des autres zones, le Mars, enfin l'Antarctique, tout ça. Et je voudrais bien que vous développez peut-être un peu plus comment vous voyagez, comment vous voyez, comment on peut protéger ça, parce que je trouve que c'est comment dire, la question la plus titillante sur Terre, d'une certaine manière, hein, qui obtiendra la commercialisation des biens publics globaux.
Excusez-moi. Alors, our analysis and ideas in the group of experts we have here in Italy, two, three team working, University of Parma in north of Italy, here in Rome, University of Palermo in south. What we are slowly arrive to this reflection that the economic paradigm is no more sufficient to understand the changes that you realize in the multilateral system. When we see the increasing role of regional institutions in Africa or in SCO, as was mentioned, in Central Asia, the five states. Ecco, and you go to analyze the documents they produce, you see that first there is they are working in long-term perspectives. African Union has a plan to 2063. China has a program to 2070 to 2100. So, but what is emerging is that they are bringing new concept of civilization. Central Asia states that play an important role, but now in the last period they write we are bringing a new Central Asia civilization. In China, where I was 1 month ago, the debate was okay, modernization with all these aspects, but progress, modernization in comparison with progress, the idea of progress that is completely different. So I can be more competitive if I use sustainable policies, environment protection, new digital tools. But what we see in the last period is the merging of the new message, new values that are not only economic, they are cultural, ethical, spiritual. In the last summit in Doha, social summit in Doha, they put in evidence the values of spiritual values to design a more balanced social society. Something is changing in terms of the need of new cultural point of reference, new ethical point of reference. And the BRICS have inside this type of initiatives. They have a group for the future, the have a group of digital evolution and a platform taking a lot of attention to social aspect, but not social interpreted not as a more service, more assistant, but social in terms of human relations, dialogue, community, and so on. So my suggestion is to enlarge our perspective of analysis and going all okay, the economic paradigm is important for the competition, for the powers, but there are emerging new elements, new trends linked to cultural, ethical, spiritual elements. And the BRICS, they are very attentive to this aspect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Merci bien.